and let us all do we can to build a better future.
But let's get started with our first segment of the day. Dan, guess who's back?
Oh, don't make me guess this. I'll let you say it.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, because, we will never be free of her.
No.
Never.
Well,
I'm with her. She will always be with us.
Eventually, she won't be.
Yeah, of course. I mean, we all do pass away. Everything lives. Everything must die as well. But
even the undead.
Yes, and the way she's looking in this video right now, she looks undead. So I want to pull up this first video. But before we play the video, Hillary Clinton was on Rachel Maddow's show, talking about Putin. And that's what we're going to be talking about in the first video.
Like all of Russia in one room.
All of Russia in one room. And we're going to be playing this first video. But in the second follow-up video, Hillary Clinton talks about the Soviet invasion of Afghanistan and royally screws up and doesn't finish the full story of the aftermath of the Soviet invasion of Afghanistan and our involvement and how she has the audacity to compare what happened in Afghanistan to Ukraine. And by the way, to all of our history experts out there, I think we all remember what happened in Afghanistan. If we want to compare Afghanistan and then add in Ukraine, well,
those hill tribes people of the Ukraine.
Yeah. So there we go. So let's play this first video.
You know those giant cities in Afghanistan we all saw?
Yeah. Let's play this first video, though.
Madam Secretary, one of the things that's happened in recent days is that people who have spent time with Putin, who have sat across the table from him at negotiations and talks over the years, say that as much as they might have either disliked or thought that Putin was ruthless before, he seems different. He doesn't seem like himself. He seems like there might be something wrong with him, that he might be nuts. We've heard that from people who have been in diplomatic negotiations with him before. I wanted to get your take on that, both as somebody who has spent time with him.
All these politicians are nuts. All of them. Be they in America or all over the world. They're all crazy. All of them. This isn't anything brand new. And look at that face from Hillary Clinton. I don't know who. I mean, she looks like a zombie in that video. But anyways, who am I?
She looks like the lady that gets on the TV because she's fighting the homeowners association on some issue.
No, we're gonna hear Hillary Clinton, the person who lost to Trump, her opinion about Putin's mindset. What's going on there?
I'm sure she has a clear understanding of the issue.
Yeah, let's play this.
But also your take on whether or not that should factor into how we strategize against him now.
Well, it's a difficult question to answer from afar, obviously. I think the reports coming out suggest both his temperament, his paranoia seems to have increased dramatically. His vindictiveness, his dictatorial approach to the people around him, including his own military leadership, seems to have gone further and deeper than anybody.
Dan?
Yes.
Could you repeat that for the people?
I was just saying, but enough about Justin Trudeau. Let's talk about Putin for a second here.
Yeah, I know.
You said it. It's like everything you could say about this, it just is a slight variation, like the Democrat or Republican Party. All the people that we're currently dealing with, and I was literally talking about someone like an hour ago about this. It reminds me of we're in like the leadership mindset of the First World War when all like the worst kind of people in charge were in charge at one time. And I want to save my good points for another story.
All right, let's play the rest of this video.
He'd ever seen before. People have also suggested that maybe physically he's facing some health challenges. I think it's important for leaders, intelligence agencies to get the best information they can. But ultimately, the people closest to Putin, those who have to deal with him, those who he's keeping at the end of 40-foot tables while he issues bizarre orders, they're the ones who need to act. They need to act for the good of Russia.
Pause it. Pause it. So what does she mean that they need to act?
What does she mean? What does she have against 40-foot tables?
Yeah, because
they're expensive.
My personal, me, we ever get when we get the building, I want a 40-foot table.
40 feet, 1 inch.
Yes,
A little bit
got
longer,
to be more than Putin. And I would like to have that. But on the other hand, too, that's something important. What did she say? What is she asking the politicians and generals to do in Russia? What is she asking them to do a civil war? Is she asking them to do a violent coup? Is she asking for the United States to get involved in Russian elections again, like we did in 1991?
No, she just wants us to do like hey guys, can you just take care of this for us?
Can you take care of Putin? And that's all. That's going to open up a can of worms. You know, why do I think that this sounds like a cheap version, or what she's asking for is a cheap version of the death of Stalin? Because the thing is, trust me on it, that is a horrible idea. What Hillary Clinton is asking for. What are you asking these politicians and generals to do? Are you sure that you won't be replacing Putin with somebody far, far worse? That's a big gamble that you're making there, Hillary Clinton. And yet you're supposed to be the expert. You're the person that lost to a reality TV show clown. And by the way, hey, vote blue no matter who crew. And I'm with her crew. Remember, it was the Clintons that encouraged Trump to run for president in the 2016 election cycle. They encouraged him to do so. And by the way, this might offend the vote blue no matter who crowd. Remember, Trump used to be a Democrat. And Daniel, refresh my memory. Wasn't Hillary Clinton a senator in a state called New York, and one of her districts was New York City? And I think Trump has some buildings in Am I wrong?
I think there might have been some overlap. I think there might have been some wedding photos as well.
Wedding photos, great stuff. One big club. And vote blue no matter who, and die hard Republican red. You will never be in it.
I just got Hillary, she's not sure what she's been doing, but her response is basically, well, we should get intelligence, and if someone inside Russia wants to do something, that'd be nice too. That's all nice. I've gotten from this entire thing.
Oh, don't worry. The second video's magnificent. Let's play the rest of the video.
They need to stop him, whether or not this has turned into some kind of physical or mental problems that he either had or has in some way come down with. We don't know. But his behavior is dangerous, and it's dangerous to the future of Russia. So my hope is that the people who are watching him, those who get close enough to see in person his behavior, which is so erratic, that they can try to prevent him from doing things that will not only be tragic for Ukraine, but tragic for Russia, too. This should be stopped for Russia's sake.
Okay. So, remember, how much we want to take this situation, Russia and the United States have both been eyeing each other over to Ukraine. And we cannot forget that there are Democratic and Republican lawmakers and their family members and relatives who are involved in the oil and gas line industry in Ukraine. This has been a staring contest where both sides decided to blink, panic, and now are really close towards us having a conflict on which there could be no end. And if there is an end, it's a fiery mushroom cloud in the sky. I don't want that to happen. And the thing is, the Biden-Harris administration takes responsibility for instigating this conflict even further. This falls on them. And who knows how this will play out? Who knows if this will escalate even further? But we're not done with Hillary Clinton, not yet. And God, if she runs again in 2024, I know, but if
she can maybe sit for 2024, maybe
it's just if we see a repeat of 2016 through 2024, I'm really going to be disappointed in a lot of people because I know the fear
is going to be Biden, Sanders, and Hillary.
Why did you do that? Why did you put that?
That's what you say. I'm just saying the words. I'm saying what you're saying.
I know. But then when I heard you say it, I just saw it, and I all of a sudden, why did I live like a whole year? And at 2 seconds, I lived a whole year in my mind being disappointed, and somehow it's going to be another neoliberal pick, and I just put that in my mind.
You just do the classic. It rhymes. Rhyming, not the same.
Yeah, exactly.
It's worse. Maybe better. I don't know.
Well, hey, speaking of how history rhymes.
Yes.
we're actually going to get a history lesson from Hillary Clinton.
Oh, great. I'm
Now,
sure it's
you haven't
history.
seen this video.
No.
You haven't.
No. I think that I'm better off for not seeing it.
Well, because I actually had to watch it twice. All of you are now going to watch it with us too. Because, folks, let's face it, this is the bullshit that they're feeding us.
And unusual.
This is the bullshit that they're feeding us on corporate media, mainstream media. So here's your history lesson, where Hillary Clinton's going to compare Ukraine invasion to the Afghan invasion by the Soviet Union. Let's play it.
Oh, history. You mean propaganda. American history.
There we go.
But remember, the Russians invaded Afghanistan back in 1980. And
wait, pause it.
although no country...
It wasn't 1980, it was 1975. When the Soviets invaded. It ended in 1989.
So far, she's got the subject of her conversation wrong, and she's got the date wrong.
Date wrong. Okay?
Again, she literally looks like she's been developed to the point where I could see her being like, that's just some lady complaining to the Home Association.
I don't want those those teenagers skateboarding their
Yes,
skates
that's exactly
in a
what I was
pool.
thinking. I was going to say, she looks like she's upset about someone skateboarding and wants to install spikes so they
One
fall
of the
over.
girls on the 10th floor is an e-girl, and she's saying poggers too much, and that has to stop now.
What is poggers even?
I don't know anymore.
No.
You know what? There's so many.
No, I know what poggers is. I don't mean in that way. I mean through Hillary Clinton.
Oh, yeah.
You just exposed yourself there.
I did, yeah, I did. Well, I'm not.
So all you guys-
Why would I say that word though,
Poggers.
if I don't even know what it means?
Poggers.
I just heard it. I'm sorry. Like,
Well, I know what it means.
Anyways,
So-
but then there's also the fact that she's.
Don't worry, it's the youth will remember these things.
Yeah, the useful remember. don't listen to me. Whatever you do. Anyways, one other thing is I can
See,
I
the Yankee Tanky gets it. Poggers.
Yeah, there we go. Okay. Anyways, by the way, that's my impression of Hillary Clinton. So,
It's just this voice right here.
anyways, let's play the rest of it. All right, two things she got wrong.
country went in, they certainly had a lot of countries supplying
Pause
arms
it one
and
more time.
advice and even
Ed, I need you to check the chat on everyone throwing you a date. We got to make sure we correct our correction.
Great. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, wrong. The Soviets were invited by the Afghan government in 1979, so it wasn't an invasion. Because that's right. There was there was the original Afghan government that invited the Soviets in, and then it started to get a little bit out of it. So there we go. Thank you.
We're correcting ourselves.
We're correcting ourselves. 1979. 1979, they were invited in. It wasn't an invasion.
That mistake was poggers.
Yeah, there we go. There we go. Let's play the rest of the video.
By the way, we have a Twitch channel. I'm not on it, but Kid is. And he doesn't know poggers. Even though it's a emote in Twitch that's been used while you're live. Anyway.
even some advisors to those who were recruited to fight Russia. It didn't end well for the Russians. There were other unintended consequences, as we know, but the fact is that a very motivated and then funded and armed insurgency basically drove the Russians out of Afghanistan. Obviously, the similarities are not ones that you should bank on because the terrain, the development in urban areas, et cetera, is so different. But I think that is the model that people are now looking toward. And if there can be sufficient armaments that get in, and they should be able to get in along some of the borders between other nations and Ukraine, and keep the Ukrainian, both their military and their citizen volunteer soldiers supplied, that can continue to stymie Russia. Now, let's be clear that Russia has overwhelming military force. But of course, they did in Afghanistan as well. They also brought.
Thing is, this is a danger that Hillary Clinton seems to be forgetting because we, the United States government, gave money to the Mujahideen in Afghanistan. Rambo 3 actually gave a big thank you to the brave Mujahideen fighters. Oh, yeah, that was in Rambo 3. That's something that took place. And the United States government gave weapons to the Mujahideen. And the sad fact is that eventually came back at us. And a little incident some of you may not know, some of you might have forgotten, called 9/11 took place. You know, Hillary Clinton, I don't know why you're so on board with giving more armaments to Ukraine. I mean, this could also come back to bite us again. Because we have these politicians who've been in office for so long, who've been in a swamp bubble in Washington, D.C., and keep making the same mistakes over and over again. But at this point, they know what they're doing. They're doing it on purpose, all to make their donors rich. Let's play the rest of it.
A lot of air power to Syria. It took years to finally defeat Syria in terms of the insurgencies, the democratic forces, as well as others who battled the Russians, the Syrians, and the Iranians. So if you're fighting for your homeland, you're fighting for your family, you're fighting.
So, you know, earlier in the video, she said unintended consequences. What were those consequences, Hillary? And then number two, you know, are we still in Syria? We have a peacekeeping force in Syria.
Mm-hmm.
There's open slave trade happening in Libya, by the way. There's an ongoing genocide taking place in Yemen.
Mm-hmm.
We're still somewhat in Afghanistan and in Iraq, too. So, Hillary, what are you asking the American government to do now and the American people to do now in Ukraine? Escalate this conflict even further? Let's play the rest of it.
Fighting for your ideals, that's far more powerful than sending in these poor, young Russian soldiers who didn't even know where they were going until they crossed the border and people were screaming at them and they realized they were in Ukraine. So I think we have to watch this carefully. We have to provide sufficient military armaments for the Ukraine military and volunteers. And we have to keep tightening the screws.
She's just reminiscing about her time in Gitmo. I don't know.
No, here's what we have to look at when it comes down to getting advice from these has-been politicians who still have aspirations for the highest office of the land. Don't listen to these neoliberal sellouts. They don't care about you. And obviously Hillary Clinton's being an armchair general. This situation in the Ukraine was escalated by the Biden-Harris administration. They're the ones that kept on poking Putin. They're the ones that kept on instigating this fight further and further. And we cannot forget that the United States, way earlier on, even before Biden got into office, before Trump got into office, the United States spent $5.5 billion for the removal of the previous Ukrainian regime. That's something that took place. And before Trump, who was president?
Probably another Republican, I guess.
I would say Republican light. His
Republican.
name reminds me of Obama.
That's right.
That's right. Because that's the thing that took place too. Look, I hate seeing history constantly rhyme.
Mm-hmm.
But we're stuck in the same lyrical nightmare. And the only way we're going to get out of it is people say no more. There should be massive anti-war movements all across this globe. We need to call for diplomacy right away, and giving further armaments to this already escalating conflict in Ukraine is a disaster waiting to happen. But these politicians don't care. They got gold-plated health care. They got benefits up the wazoo. They're going to be fine. They're going to be okay. But they're expecting the rest of us to sacrifice. They're expecting the rest of us to hurt each other. This is madness, and Hillary Clinton, you had your time. Now it's time to maybe read a good book, and that's that.